Hello, you lovely lot. How are we doing? It is Connor. We're back with another One Leeds video. How the devil are we today? The day before Leeds United kick off another championship calendar game against Coventry City. I was battered yesterday for putting on a Brummie accent. Now listen, what I will say about putting on a Brummie accent with Coventry, I've met people from Coventry and the outskirts of Coventry who have a Brummie accent. Solihull is 10 to 15 minutes away. Come on, everybody. You've got to give me that one. I'm having it as Brum. I am near Brum, outside of Brum. So, yeah, I hope you're all doing very, very well on this Friday. We've got Daniel Farke's press conference in about an hour, and I fancy doing a bit of a lunchtime Leeds today. And yeah, I wanted to discuss many things. As you can see on the title, we've got some new sort of breaking news as well that are on the airwaves that a publication has released. You guys might believe it, you might not believe it, and I'm going to get into that today. But wow, if it is true, mind-blowing. But before we start the video, please make sure you're slapping a like on the video. Loads of people are in the building here. Hi, Connor. Back to winning ways tomorrow. Hi, I'm catching a live stream. Nice from Florida. Hi, mate. I'm going with the 1-1-2 changes. Good afternoon, Connor. Hope you're having a good one. Cov City is a massive game. Need to start strong and put them away early doors. Justin, thank you always, mate. Hit the like, guys. When you like the video, it just means it's shared to way more people. It's not about any sort of monetary thing. It is literally just that it's shared to, other people on the net, and they can access it and they can enjoy it as well. However, monetary-wise, we do have some Patreon content and bonus Patreon content. There's 170 members now, I believe it is. We have a really lovely community over there. It's about £4 a month, helps with the running of the channel. I bought a new MacBook, which is fantastic news with the proceeds. And as you can tell, hopefully the production's improving a little bit. We've got a lot of really good ideas, especially with the Patreon. We've got something which delves into the journalist world, which I think you might enjoy with me, Gabe, and potentially a couple of others, bringing something which could bring itself to the wider scope later on. But yeah, if you want to join, there's some exciting bits on there as well. So let's get into a few comments as well. Yo, afternoon, Connor. Hi, Ronnie Kipper in. Great name. Hi, Connor. Yeah, great to see a lot of you on your lunch breaks as well. It's quite nice doing it at this time of day because there's more accessibility. Hi, Connor. How often do you get to go to games? Not often, mate, unfortunately. I would love them to increase the capacity just for that, to be honest with you, so I can get to a few more games. But yeah, I'm always asking around. Shout out Leeds United Calypso, who's been helping me every now and again to try potentially get some tickets. So yeah, anyway. Let's get on with everything. So, what do I want to talk about first? Well, as you can tell by the title, San Francisco 49ers rising expectations. Now, Connor, why are you talking about that? Now, this is just an opinion-based thing, but I've wanted to discuss this for a long while, and I think it's going to be a topic of maybe a future video, but Daniel Farke's position at Leeds United is extremely healthy, very, very healthy indeed. And this, for no reason whatsoever, is me saying, Daniel Farke's in jeopardy or this, that, and the other. But I just wonder right now with the San Francisco 49ers what their expectation is with this side. William also, Jaden Anthony, Crysencio, Somerville, Jorginho, Rutter, Patrick Bamford, Yoel, Perot, and co. in attack, and a very, very decent, healthy squad. I wonder what their expectations are as an ownership. Parag has spoke very, very recently about wanting to bounce back straight away, and that being the objective. There's been a sort of a few iterations of Leeds United having a 2-year project, but they want it now, really, in terms of the bounce back ability of this side, and that's the reason they brought Daniel Farke in. They expect promotion straight away. And I just wonder how this is going to pan out. I wonder where Leeds are. I wonder if the 49ers are going to be turning around and looking at this season thinking there's two anomalies, which, on a data spreadsheet, you'd look at outliers and think, okay, well, you can't control that. They're variables that you can't control. Ipswich and Leicester. And I think they would be fair in that respect. I think if they are data analysts, which apparently they are, 49ers HQ, they're probably going to be looking at the season prior and looking at the fact that we'd be on more points than Burnley were on this stage of the season last season. And they'd probably be thinking, look, in any other season, Leeds would be absolutely flying. This season, we're not. We're 10 points behind Ipswich. I believe we're 12 behind Leicester. And you do wonder, should this squad And should this manager be doing better right now? And that's the overriding question I wanted to pose to you guys on this video. And this, once again, you have to reiterate this because people take this out of context and don't listen to what you're saying. I want to make it want to make this clear once again. I'm not saying anything derogatory about Daniel Farke. I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. I have previously said that I'd like to see a little bit more tactical ingenuity, but what I am saying is I wonder what the 49ers are thinking. And I'm asking that question. I wonder what they're thinking. Do they want more? Are they thinking to themselves, well, we're going to invest in January, and if we don't see Leeds getting closer to the top two, if we don't see that gap closing, because I think they will look spreadsheet-wise and think, well, hold on, the Ipswich squad is worth a lot less than ours, and their manager is getting more out of that squad. He's squeezing the juice. So I wonder, as businessmen, American businessmen who naturally aren't involved in soccer, I wonder how they're going to view this. And I think they're a bit of a ruthless group, as we know, as we've been told as well, as I've been told by a few people I've spoken to. And I wonder how they're going to look at this. I wonder if potentially if we do business in January and if we don't close that gap, maybe as Americans, American businessmen, they're going to look at it and think, well, we have a better squad. We've got a manager who's been promoted 2 years previously. That was the whole selling point of to us. It was, we've got a manager who's won the championship twice. And I'm interested. I'm really, really interested to see how this develops. I'd like to see your opinion. Failings in defence, Connor, costing us. Failings in defence is costing us, Connor. The gap is mainly down to the start, and you can't blame Farke for that at the start of the season. And it's interesting when you're saying that, coding with GPT, just seeing you there, mate. Hello. And that's interestingly, and I agree with you. I agree with you. What I would say, and I was saying this the other night in the debrief, and you can fire this out there: Stoke City, Rotherham, Southampton, and the game the other night have been outside that point at the start of the season. So we have dropped points in excess beyond that point. It's not just been at the start of the season. There have been times where Leeds United have been able to close that gap and be perfect. As we've said, Leeds have to be. And it's just from an outsider's perspective looking in, I wonder how they're going to view McKenna's Ipswich, who's squeezing the juice out of every last fibre of that team in comparison to Daniel Farke's Leeds, who, let's be honest, trajectory-wise, quality of player-wise, are arguably the best in the Championship. Maybe alongside Leicester there. So it's just going to be fascinating to see how they go with it. They seem like a long-term business, they seem very, very long-term in what they want to do and what they were speaking about at the start of the season in terms of Daniel Farke going forward. I just wonder how they're going to go about this January, and if Leeds are to get some really good names in, if Leeds are to spend money. We were speaking about Ian Maatson yesterday. We're going to speak about another name in a bit. I wonder how they're going to look at it. Hi, Connor. Hi, Gail. If I was at Aronson, I'd be embarrassed to return. Lone Rat. Evening, Connor. A few of you joining on Twitter. Hello. Loads of comments in here. This is fantastic. I PM you, mate, on Instagram. I'll have a look, Joe. Don't worry, mate. But the caveat to that is it's so obvious we lose to the likes of Sunderland, etc. before some annoying reason. It's just always us that do that. Yeah, superstition is always the way, isn't it? Gary says, Hola, Connor. My only concern with DF is that we have played poorly in the first half of game. His halftime team talks and tactics seem to have little or no effect. Why? Justin says, Connor, how many changes would you like to see and who, if so? To be honest, Justin, I don't think there's many that we can make, to be honest, with injuries at this moment in time. I don't think Daniel Farke is going to say anything revolutionary at 1:30. I think we're all going to know who's going to be out. Poveda, Dallas, the likes of Poveda, Dallas, Byram. It's going to be that. I don't think there's going to be any new injury list. I mean, he said that the other day, didn't he? He said that there's nothing to report after the game and it's the same people. So I think that's the beauty of what you get with post-match stuff just in midweek. You're not going to get really any updates. Leeds fan says, we don't get up for lower teams and have no plan B as the bigger teams think they can beat us and do one on us where the lower teams close up to the win. All managers need time to get the players they want. This is not a Farke squad at the minute. Andy, and this is exactly what I'm saying. And I do agree with you. It's not what I'm saying. It's as an American consortium, an American business, they are notoriously ruthless. And this lot do work on data spreadsheets. And in my opinion, they're going to be looking at the quality of the other squads in the division, and they're going to be saying, I know there's 2 outliers there in Ipswich and Leicester, but why are we not there? You know, the expected goals this season, Leeds are top of the division. So does that mean that we've not got enough quality in the ranks? Does that mean that we're not creating opportunities in the right way? You know, does that mean that we haven't got that ruthlessness in the final third? Well, it would, at the XG would tell you that we are creating the opportunities. So what's going on in the final third then when we have the quality to put some of these teams away? Is that down to Daniel Farke, or is that just individuals in offensive positions who aren't putting the ball in the back of the net? You know? It's just very, very interesting. I think you will always drop points throughout the year. We also beat Leicester and Ipswich 100%. Gordon says, I cannot see us bridging the gap to Ipswich. They are just so solid. Header says, I think the team are under par. The manager has fallen, doesn't know what to do with the squad. He is clueless. Farke needs to go. Interesting. Thanks. Cheers, Jamie. Gav says, Farke's downfall is there seems to be no plan B, but maybe we don't have the players to win dirty, so speak. Michael says, here's the solution. Rotate the squad, rest a few for home games where we are stronger, got full strength, or adapt away games which are harder. I think the thing is with this, Michael, and this is another thing the 49ers will be looking at once again for the 500th time. This isn't me saying Daniel Farke should be out. It's just wondering where their expectations are going to lie. And obviously, 3 teams get promoted, so even if Leeds were in the playoffs, you know, they'd probably be expecting Leeds to go through the playoffs. You would argue. I think the difficulty at the minute, and you know, you look at the away games that Leeds are playing. I do think there is a lack of dominance, a lack of momentum, consistency, and control in those away games in particular. Even when we're winning games, I don't think we're performing well. But I think as well, the rotation of the squad is a big issue. I think what Leeds are finding at the minute is Farke maybe doesn't trust Gruev, even though that was his player who he brought in, obviously from the Bundesliga for £6 million. The rotation of potentially Jamie Shackleton earlier on in the season, he's not being utilised anymore. Obviously, we're not having Charlie Cresswell get any minutes whatsoever. And even though Southampton, Sunderland and Middlesbrough are lurking, Leeds are not wanting to loan them out. News this morning is suggesting that Leeds don't want to let Joe Gelhardt go as well, but he's getting no minutes. So if they want to keep these players around, it's almost like they don't want to let these players go and do well for other clubs, probably because Leeds have learnt from Leif Davis, Huggins, amongst others, championship level. But they're not, Farke isn't trusting them. And when we have rotated for a game where Jadon Anthony, William Yonso and Gruev came in, we were really beaten by Stoke, and Stoke were fully deserving on the day. Stoke have just, let Alex Neil go, which is the way it normally goes, isn't it? Teams seem to just get up for Leeds. So it's interesting because you rotate the squad, but either those players aren't hitting the marker, but how do they hit the marker when they're not getting enough minutes? But on the other hand, does Daniel Farke even trust them? Now, the proof in the pudding is that he doesn't trust them whatsoever. And the 49ers, you do wonder if they're thinking, well, we've invested in these players, or we've kept hold of these players. We want to see them playing a little bit more, and it's obvious that these players need to be playing a little bit more to freshen up the side, even though Leeds are doing okay numerically at the minute. Tashin says, we need some you-know-what houses like Alioski. Click used to be, like Tim Krul was at Farke. This is another thing as well, Tashin. I was mentioning this the other day. Continuously, there are people saying, Daniel Farke, I had on my last video when I questioned a couple of his tactics. A lot of people were saying, Connor, look what he's done at Norwich. How can you question him when he's won it 2 times? It's not the same team. It's not the same team. It's nowhere near the same team. He's missing a lot of profiles. So that's where with Farke, I turn around and I think, unless he's trying to revolutionise Leeds and not do what he's done before, which 100% could be the question, could be the answer, I should say. He's not got the same profiles. He's not got a 30-goal season Timu Pukki, who's an out-and-out number 9. Leeds don't have a number 9. Doesn't have a left-back. Doesn't have a cam. And has only just got back his number 1 starting right-back. So essentially, for the start of the season, he's had 4 profiles missing. And we're expecting to compare him to that Norwich side. So that's where maybe the 49ers will look at it and say, well, is it a bit of a disadvantage here? But then you look at the quality of the squad overall, and we have a lot of profiles which Norwich didn't have. Did Norwich have what we had going forward? Did Norwich have the type of midfield that we've got? Did Norwich have the centre-backs that we've got? Now, there is another argument that Norwich, that side with Vrancic, Tete, Ben Godfrey, Zimmerman, Aarons, Lewis had a better team than Leeds United. But I'm not sure they did. But I think we are missing profiles that would facilitate any manager, not just Daniel Farke. James, hey James, back in the building. I'm unsure I want him in the Prem. However, I'd love to see these owners be proactive and back him in Jan with the positions he needs, cam and left back, because promotion is a must and change now is risky. That's exactly where I'm at, James. That is exactly where I'm at with it, mate. I think change, and this is where it's what I like to do on this channel, as you guys know, is cultivate discussion and debate. I'm not saying that this is my perspective. I wonder how they're thinking about this, but I think changing right now would be dangerous. I think changing at all this season is dangerous, and it's madness for me. It's madness changing Daniel Farke. It is. But I wonder where their heads are at. But James is correct. I think backing him is massive. I don't think he's ever going to come out in the press conference in an hour's time. He's not going to come out and say, well, this is what I need. He's going to keep it in-house. He's a professional guy. But you wonder if they are to get an Ian Matson, if they are to get an Elias Chair, that is serious backing. If they'd then turn around to Daniel Farke and say, but well, we expect promotion now. We really expect promotion. And, this is a serious backing that you've got now. But yeah, James, I'm with you about the Premier League shout. And I think a lot of managers, Championship level, it's difficult for them to transition into the Premier League. But we've seen it with Farke before. If we're talking about his Championship record, we have to talk about his Premier League record as well. But we're not discussing that right now. But it is a must. I agree with you, James, about Leeds getting to the Premier League. Why? Because Somerville, Rutter, James, Nonso, Ampadu, Rodon, Spence, all these players are going to go. So, yeah, Leeds have got the better quality team, but if you've got the better quality team and you stay in the Championship, we all know what happens. Darren says we've lost 3 games since end of December. Ipswich lost 2 all season. You can't blame it on the first few weeks of the season. That's sort of where I'm at, Darren. I think there definitely has been more discrepancies than at the start of the season. We've lost more games. We've dropped more points when we've been in full flow. We know that. You could even throw Sheffield Wednesday in there as well, because that was post the January window. Morning, Sergio. Yeah, and Bjorn, very good point. That version of Norwich had a very balanced squad. That's exactly right. Jamal Lewis, Aarons, there's your balance, a left footer and a right footer. Defenders, Godfrey, Zimmerman. Consistent. Never injured. That's another thing. Barely injured. Our entire back line has been injured throughout the whole season, which follows the Leeds United blueprint. Vrancic, Tom Tribal, Onel Hernandez, Buendia, Campwell and Pookie. That's a balanced side. A very, very, very balanced side. With decent substitutions as well that season. So yeah, 100%. And a lot of people are saying that we've got decent subs at the minute. Have we? For what we need? Do we have a creator who can come on and change the game a little bit? Have we got someone who we can rotate Perot with? Have we got someone who we can rotate Rutter with? We've got wingers, and we've got an aging Patrick Bamford who scored no goals in 12 games, 12 substitute appearances. We've got Luke Ayling, who's out of the squad. Liam Cooper. But what else have we got? Gruev, but I'm not sure he trusts him. Is he the difference maker? The only one who I'm looking at really and thinking creativity-wise is Ian Pervader. It'd be interesting. That for me, that is an option. I like Pervader. Not sure he's good enough, but is he a rotation option at this moment in time with Yoel Perot and it's not working? Potentially. Hi, Lucas. Another Patreon member here. I do wonder in 18-19 if we had 42 points after 40. Sorry, mate. In 18-19 we had 42 points after games, one more than we have now. I think I think that's the context, isn't it, mate? And I think you bang on. We're doing well this season. We're doing really well this season, but not well enough. And that's where we're at right now. We won the debrief the other day, and Brownie kept saying, we look at Burnley last season, and I've said it multiple times, you look at the highest points tallies at this point so far in Championship history right now at this stage, where so-and-so's, but it doesn't matter. It's an anomaly season, of course it is. But it was almost an anomaly season when we had Sheffield United and Norwich with the Bielsa season, and Sheffield United and Norwich were going on these insane runs. I mean, Sheffield United went on a ridiculous run. We're all turning around and going, are you serious? Are you serious? But it is the way of the world when we seem to be in the Championship. Woe is me, but woe is us, we should say. We had Brentford charging us down for most of it as well. But woe is us. But it does seem to be when Leeds are there, we seem to get the toughest draw of teams down there. I mean, who'd have expected Leicester and Southampton to go down last season in general at the start of the previous season? One was the Premier League champion, not long before, and were in Europe not long before. The other team were in Europe not long before, and Leeds then went down with them. You knew it was going to be tough with these lot, But right now, the top two is the top two. The points total is the points total. We can all say, we'll compare this, but it doesn't matter. If Leeds want to go up, we know our best chance is the automatics. We all know that. So I am agreeing with you, Lee, and I bring it up quite a lot as well, mate. But really, it's irrelevant. None of it matters about the Bielsa season or the Burnley season. But if we are to talk about the 18-19 season, did Bielsa have as good a squad as this? No. But he was doing the McKenna, which is squeezing the juice out of every last player, every last system that he had, And that was the difference. We know systematically Bielsa's a much better coach than Farke. Systematically right now, McKenna's a much better coach than Farke. So I think that's what we need to improve on a little bit, to be honest. NFT Investment says 12 wins in 21 games with this squad is simply not good enough. I didn't know that was a stat, mate, to be honest with you. Mark McCabe, hi, Mark. Hi, Connor. For me, we had 2 left backs and move Byram to right back as backup for Spence and move Archie back to CM for rotation. Yeah, mate, or as backup for Spence. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do, Mark. Sorry, mate, I read that wrong. I completely agree with everything. Andy says the season's over 46, not 21. And listen, we could catch them. We 100% could catch them. I think we're in a situation right now, everyone, where we are looking at it and thinking it's even more crazy now because we now can't afford a single slip up, and we have to beat Ipswich. Really, we can't afford a single slip up. And that's maybe where people are getting a little bit worried, because what you don't want is that getting to 13, then 15 and 16 points, because then it becomes unattainable. It really does. And I mentioned the playoffs the other night and thinking that Leeds might fall into that bracket. If we were to get to 13 to 15 to 16 points difference, listen, what else can you say? That is a big makeup. It's a huge makeup. And they're not falling off at the minute, Ipswich or Leicester. So we have to be beyond perfect right now. So discrepancies like the other night, discrepancies like Rotherham, discrepancies like Stoke and Southampton, we can't afford anymore. We have to get 3 points every single week. Is that unrealistic? Probably, but it's the position we're in right now. If you was offered an average of 2 points per game at Christmas, you have snapped their fingers off. On the other hand, Bielsa would have gotten more points than Farke. I agree with the latter part of that. Trigger happy. What I will also say is we've got 1.45 points away from home this season. Our home form is unbelievable. I think we've got over 2.4 points per game at home, away from home. That's where the average comes in, 1.45 points per game. So that's the problem. It's also away from home, where we're not controlling games enough, we're predictable, and teams are setting up against us in a way which is becoming difficult for Leeds to break down. And what I will also say, everybody, is, it's a really interesting discussion, this. What I'll bring to the table as well, and this is something that I want you guys to get your opinions in on. I was reading the old news articles this morning, and listen to this one. wet your gills around this one. Leeds United considering recalling Louis Sinisterra. Leeds United and Bournemouth have arranged a swap deal in the summer, but neither player have been fruitful at their respective loan clubs. Sinisterra has played 8 times in the top flight this season, starting just once. During that time, he's scored 1 and assisted 1. Anthony has unsurprisingly gone down the pecking order behind the plethora of wingers at Leeds. The 24-year-old has started 2 games, scoring once, and according to Team Talk and other outlets, key there, other outlets, the Whites are considering recalling Sinisterra from his loan deal in January and Anthony heading back the other way. Ooh, and suddenly, everybody's mind twerks a little bit. And we all think, I would never have had Sinisterra back so-and-so months ago. And suddenly you start to think, let's think about that Ipswich game at the start of the season where he was the best player on the pitch. Let's think about how many times we watched Sinisterra and thought, bloody hell, what a player. We know Anthony's got a great attitude. There's absolutely no chance that he's not knocking on his agent's door and saying, I'm sick of this. I can't be bothered with this anymore. I'm not getting any minutes. I'm coming on for 5 minutes. I can't change any games. He's not giving me any opportunities. And especially when he's done it in the Championship before and he's got 7 goals and 8 assists. And he's played more for Bournemouth than he will for Leeds in the Championship, you know. Sinisterra. Oh, now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm not. But I wonder if in the loan contract there is a recall option. There probably is. There is in most loan contracts. And if he's not playing enough games, they like him a lot down at Bournemouth. And we all know that when he came to Leeds, they're all giving him plaudits. I think they give him a bit of a sign-off on their club website as well. See you soon, go smash it sort of thing. They will not be happy with the amount of minutes he's getting. And, you know, Leeds are probably looking at Sinisterra and thinking, well, he's not really getting much development there, blah, 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 even though that was forced through really by Sinisterra and his agent. There's one thing where you look and think, is that the right move for Leeds United? Sinisterra, with everything that happened. You know, how bad the squad was at that point, and with everything that was going on with Sinisterra, it was affecting us badly. Then there's the other hand of we need to catch Ipswich and Leicester. And is he more of a difference maker than Anthony? I would say he is. And he still comes back. And even with Somerville in the team, Sinisterra is the best player in the Championship. And we all know that. So that's the balancing act at the minute. And as I say, those minutes at Ipswich in particular, where they were all on the pump and you were watching that front four and thinking, Jesus Christ, when Sinisterra was cooking, the entire team was on it. And it was like, wow, let's be honest, for about 20 minutes in that game, Leeds could have scored 7 or 8. It was unbelievable. We were peppering them. And the class difference was massive. So you do wonder if he would come back and then seek a move in June. I'm interested to hear what you guys say about that. Lucas says too injury prone. No thanks, don't want Cinnabel. I've just done Sinisterra and Annabelle there. Sinisterra back. Obviously, he's going to say that just in front of the cameras. Does Sinisterra increase our chances of getting promotion? Absolutely. Getting back, and then Damar with this is why I love these discussion points. Absolutely don't want him back. The rat. So where do you stand on this? Because if Sinisterra was to come back, I doubt we'd be loaning him out again or all that sort of stuff. You'd be waiting around for the Jan window, the June transfer window, and selling him on. But we wouldn't have Anthony beyond that point anyway, would we, in the summer? And what impact right now is Anthony having? When he's come on, I have been a little bit underwhelmed, I have to say. I've been a bit underwhelmed. I don't think, you look at the Nonto impact, even in the last couple of games, the Nonto impact in comparison to the Anthony impact, it's very different, isn't it? It's very different. I think Anthony maybe needs a little bit more, a few more minutes, but to maybe get into it, whereas Nonto can just almost like seamlessly transition into it and be part of this attacking quartet. But I have been a little bit underwhelmed by him. Now, we all know what you're going to get with Sinisterra in this Leeds team. Would Sinisterra be looking at this Leeds team right now? And I know it's bad. I know it's really bad. But would he be looking at this Leeds team and thinking, All right, yeah, I'm happy with that now. And I know that's wrong. I know it's wrong. But does Sinisterra increase our chance of promotion, as Scott's saying, in comparison to Sinisterra as a rat? Get rid of him, no chance. But do you remember when everybody was hating on Nonso? And I know there's still attitudes towards Nonso. People don't like Nonso for what he did. But as soon as he started performing relatively well at the start, that whole mindset shifted. And if Sinisterra was to come back to Leeds, start scoring, start assisting, start bolstering our hopes, you know, becoming a match winner, that whole summer debacle goes out the window for me. Conor lad, top clobber. What do you reckon, MW? Never done this before, mate. Bit of CP company there, mate. What you rating the hoodie? Give us a rating on the hoodie, MW. I need to start doing this with you most episodes, mate. A little bit of a no drawstring one as well. Out of 10, what do you reckon? Christ. That's my monetization gone there, Jammy. Cheers for that, mate. Let him help us win, then sell on. Use the way he used us. Rad music chat. I think that's a really good way of looking at it. Damar's not happy with it. The reception he would get at ER would be absolutely mental. The abuse he would get if you thought Nonsos were bad, Sinis would be 10 times worse. I wonder if the feel of the place right now, though, Damar, with where Leeds are at, you know, it's a pretty good feeling round Ellen Road, apart from the other day. You wonder if, they're being muted for me. Be very, very muted and have to win us back, but I mean, the guy's probably worth about 25 million quid, and getting him back into this setup with the quality that he has. I would take Cine back for the remaining season, but is his heart in it? Probably not, mate, but yeah, and he will. Dave says, stop being a cheerleader for him. He's dead to this club as far as I'm concerned. Dave, it's not a cheerleader. It's football isn't always played on emotion, mate. You know, you forget, listen, I know Nonso, it seems to be people have short-term memories when it comes to Willie Nonso. People were absolutely raging with him. They didn't want to see him in the Leeds top again. He was trying to force a move through. Daniel Farker came out and said he was trying to force a move through. He's not happy with him whatsoever. The social media on Willie Nonso was horrific. Absolutely horrific. We only found out what was going on with Sinisterra towards the end, but people accept players back when they perform well for the club. It goes out the window. Sentiment goes out the window. If Sinisterra is to come back in the second half of the season, score 10 goals, get 8 assists, no one gives a you-know-what. No one cares. If Leeds are to get promoted. Maybe some people do, but I know it sounds daft, but if it was at the expense of Leeds not getting promoted, or even if you get to the playoffs and you've got Sinisterra in there, it's not being a cheerleader, mate. You've got the best player in the Championship by a country mile, in my opinion, above Rutter, above Somerville, potentially coming back into the squad. You know? So you have got to weigh up that feeling, haven't you? If he's to come back and where to use him for a little bit, sell him on, see you later, mate. Which he will go in the summer, we know. But if he's to play his arse out for the next 6 months, if he was to come back to Leeds and get us promoted, all right, you've kind of redeemed yourself a little bit, mate. See you in a bit. But yeah. Yeah, cheers, Joe. Thanks, mate. Yeah, guys, slap a like on the video. If you want to see some bonus content, head on over to the Patreon, where we have a few journalistic things coming with me, Gabe, and a couple of others. I've mentioned this. Videos coming out throughout the remainder of the weekend as well. We'll have a watch long tomorrow. We'll have your instant match reaction. We'll have 3 things we learned. We'll have player ratings on the Patreon. We'll have loads of it. And we had a few audio-only podcasts as well for you to, if you want to listen to at work or when you're driving home and stuff like that. That's exclusive on the Patreon now as well, across the pond and the general to the podcast that we're releasing over there. Guys, I know a lot of you will have opinions on this, which is great to see because I love stuff like this. It's fruitful. But I will timestamp where we've been speaking about bits in the comment section below so you guys can go to the relevant bits and stuff like that. We're probably going to do a little bit more on Sinisterra because you guys are getting heated about it and you believe in it, which is fantastic to see. I'm going to go away now. The press conference is in a little bit, so I'm going to leave you guys to it on your lunch. Hope you've enjoyed a bit of lunchtime Leeds. Make sure you slap a like on it. Subscribe to the channel as always, and I'll see you for future videos very soon. Have a good one, everyone. See you in a bit.